Welcome back to Let's Talk Poverty Solutions, where we talk about solutions to poverty that are actually working today, reducing the number of people facing poverty in some part of the United States. I am Sean Spence, and today I want to ask you something that might make you genuinely angry or genuinely hopeful, depending on how you look at it. What if billions of dollars in poverty relief already exist, fully funded, legally authorized, waiting to be claimed, and the only reason people are not receiving it is because nobody asked? Sit with that for a second. We spend enormous energy debating whether we can afford to help people in poverty, whether the programs are too generous, whether the money is there. And meanwhile, people who are already eligible for benefits, people who have already cleared every legal and moral hurdle society has set up, are going without. Not because the system said no, because the system never said anything at all. That is the problem Bridge to Benefits was built to solve. And what they found in Hennepin County, Minnesota, should stop you in your tracks. Here's the story. You're a hospital patient. Maybe you came in for a chronic condition that's been getting worse because you have been stretching your medications. Maybe you brought your kid in for an asthma attack. You are stressed, you are scared, and the last thing on your mind is paperwork. You get treated and you go home. And nobody, not one person in that entire interaction, ever mentions that you might qualify for food assistance or energy bill help or a prescription drug program that could change your life. That is how the system has worked for most of its history. People fall through the cracks not because the net isn't there, but because nobody ever helped them find it. Bridge to Benefits changes that by doing something almost embarrassingly simple. They screen hospital patients for benefit eligibility during their visit, right there while you're already in the building, already talking to someone, already in a moment where your health and your financial stress are impossible to ignore. In Hennepin County, home to Minneapolis, this program enrolled over 9,000 people in benefits they were already eligible for but not receiving. 9,000 people. And the result? $60 million in annual support flowing to low income residents who had been leaving it on the table. $60 million already budgeted, already approved, already theirs, just unclaimed. Now ask yourself, how many Hennepin counties are there in America? How many hospitals? How many waiting rooms full of people who don't know what they're entitled to? Here's what makes this solution particularly powerful. It does not require a political fight. It does not require new funding. It does not require convincing anyone that poor people deserve help. That debate is already settled in the legislation that created these programs. What it requires is meeting people where they are, in a hospital, in a moment of vulnerability, with a question: can I help you find out what you might be eligible for? Think about who actually ends up in those waiting rooms. People working two jobs who haven't had time to research benefit programs online, elderly residents who didn't grow up with the internet, immigrants navigating a system that wasn't designed with them in mind, people in the middle of a health crisis who are simultaneously drowning in paperwork they don't understand. The barriers to accessing benefits are not always about eligibility, they are about awareness, complexity, language, and the sheer exhaustion of poverty itself. There is a term researchers use for this: administrative burden. The idea that navigating bureaucracy is itself a tax on poor people's time and energy, and Bridge to Benefits attacks that burden at one of the most strategic moments possible, when someone is already receiving a service, already in a system, already talking to a professional. I want to be honest about this, what this model is and is not. It is not a substitute for stronger, more accessible benefit programs. It does not fix the gaps in the safety net. And there is a real question worth asking. If $60 million in benefits in one county were going unclaimed, what does that tell us about how we have designed our systems? Have we built programs and then quietly hoped nobody would use them? That is the uncomfortable question underneath this hopeful story. But here's what I keep returning to. Every one of those 9,000 people in Hennepin County is a real family, real groceries, real heating bills paid, real medication filled, real kids going to school with full stomachs because someone in a hospital asked the right question at the right moment. That is not a small thing. That is the difference between a family that makes it through the winter and one that doesn't. Bridge to Benefits has shown us something important. The solution to poverty is not always about creating something new. Sometimes it is about unlocking what is already there, about building bridges, not between ideas or ideologies, but between people and the resources that were always meant to be theirs. The money is there. The programs are there. The question is whether we are willing to build the bridges to get people across. Until next time, this is Sean Spence reminding you that poverty is not a character flaw. It is a lack of resources, a lack of opportunity, and far too often, a lack of someone willing to ask the right questions. Learn more at povertyactivist.com. Thank you.